Hello everyone, my name is Rafał and the boat behind me is Willow, a Springer narrowboat built in 1978. This video is about the renovation of this boat, or to be more precise about bringing her back to life, because I bought her for just £1 and to be honest, she was already on her way to a scrapyard. If you take a close look, you'll notice that the lower part of the hull has already been overplated. I've been working on it for some time but never thought to document my progress. However, my friends kept asking me how I managed to fix it, so I started to recording some videos for them and then more for myself, and eventually I decided to share them on YouTube. You may be wondering about those blue sheets. There's a window on the left and on the right there's a fence and there are cars parked behind it. I don't want to damage them when I use a grinder. It also blocks the wind when I'm welding. The design of the boat is a little rounded, especially at the front and back, making it challenging to get the measurements right. So to simplify the process, all good friend cardboard is the best. This method, in my opinion, is the quickest way to achieve the desired shape. Then I put a cut piece of steel and press it against the boat with steel wedges, and then I weld it. It's me again, by the way, but the next day, after watching yesterday's video, I decided that the most sensible thing to do would be to go to the hairdresser and do something with my hair. As I mentioned earlier, I was offered this boat for £1 and it seems to be a bargain, but before buying it, I carefully examined the boat and I concluded she was way too expensive given the boat's technical state, and I refused. But at the end of the day, I decided to go ahead with the purchase. This means that the boat needs a lot of work to get it back into shape, both outside and inside. A few words about what I'm doing here. Overplating. This is the most common way narrowboats are repaired. An alternative is to cut out the corroded element and weld a new piece of steel in its place, but such a repair is definitely much more expensive. Sometimes I come across the opinion that overplating shouldn't be carried out, and examples of bad overplating are given to prove it. An alternative way to repair it is to cut out the corroded element and replace it with a new piece of steel. This method is of course much more expensive. It's a good practice to repair first any holes if there are any. I mean, if the hull is rusted through, I repair that place first. It's best to weld a little patch from inside, if possible of course, and only then overplate. This prevents any water from getting between the plates. If something goes wrong and canal water gets in, it won't get inside the boat. Such a leak can be repaired the next time the boat is brought ashore. I always weld each piece around very carefully and only then put the next one. Thanks to this, if water gets in, it doesn't migrate between plates, otherwise it would be very difficult to figure out where the leak is. The good news is that water trapped between plates, if there is any, doesn't cause any damage, or the corrosion will occur very slowly, almost imperceptibly. It's because water usually gets there through a tiny pinhole and there's a there's no flow of oxygen-rich water there, and the mild steel you can see here rust when it comes into contact with water and oxygen, which means if water gets in there between two plates, rusting would start, but it would stop right away when the oxygen runs out. There are other kinds of corrosion, of course, that can occur without oxygen, but I wouldn't expect that to happen in between two plates made of mild steel. I've seen welded plates come off where there was water and there was no sign of rust between them. Of course, I'm talking about overplating where water seeps very slowly through small, almost invisible holes. All this means there's no need to prepare the hull in any special way. It's enough that the welding line is well cleaned. I don't have to clean the entire hull surface in the overplating area. It doesn't matter if there's rust or paint residue. Overplating increases the draft of the boat and reduces freeboard. That's true. But I'm going to rebalance the boat afterwards and remove unnecessary ballast, probably most of it. I will also raise all holes which water may enter through, like exhaust, gas locker vent, sink discharge, bilge pump discharge, anything like that. Another disadvantage is that overplating is secured only at its edges to the hull, not to the primary supporting structure. This is also true, but we are talking about canal boats only. It would be very unlikely if the waves threw such a boat against the rocks. As I said before, the best way to repair it is to cut out the damaged part of the hull and replace it with a new element. And that's what happens sometimes, of course. But I have been repairing canal boats for 18 years, and during this time hundreds of boats have been serviced by the marina, and I had the opportunity to take a close look at them, and I have seen 2 boats only repaired in this way. I'm talking about canal leisure vessels only. I'm not talking about commercial passenger cruisers, coastal cruisers or blue water boats. I've seen a few more boats that were repaired like this, but there were also doublers on them. I think that inserting a new piece of steel was the first repair, but then after analyzing the cost of such a repair, the second option was chosen later. In my opinion, the real problem is poor overplating. Unfortunately, I come across it sometimes here. Now, I'm using small pieces of steel because the design of this boat in this place forces it. Every Springer has been built this way, but when I work on other boats built differently, I use much larger plates. And of course, overplating should never be done to an existing doubling plate. This is the first video on this channel, so please forgive me for any mistakes. And as I said before, basically every part of this boat needs to be repaired, and in the next videos I'll show you how I do it. If you have your own boat or are planning to buy one, you may find some information useful for you, or you can simply laugh at the mistakes I make. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and I would be very pleased if you would leave your opinion in the comments. Hope you enjoyed.